Hi everybody, Steve Griffiths here, developer of the MTPredictor software program. In today's video I'd like to use our MTP RT add-ons for NinjaTrader 7 to take a look at how the USE minis unfolded yesterday. Before we start looking at the NQ, which is the most interesting one because we had a lovely TS3 sell here that would have got you short, to take advantage as the NQ declined later in the day, I want to just recap what we were talking about in yesterday's trading webinar. In particular, we've been saying actually for about a month now that the ES was likely to go to the 1800 level. For those of you who know, yesterday the high of the day on the ES was one tick short of that, 99.75, so 1799.75. So we said in yesterday's webinar this has pretty much caught the high. We also on the YM were looking for the 16,000, which is here, and I think if we look at the high of the day yesterday, it was actually 994, so 6 ticks short. So again, within a whisker of our anticipated levels. So on both these main markets, particularly the ES, because that's the one we call the boss and the one that tends to move the others, we were saying that there's probably a high in, and therefore we're anticipating a decline. As far as automatic setups go, there wasn't anything on the ES, as you can see here, but I'll come back and look at this a bit later in the video. The one I want to start by looking at is the NQ. The reason being is that this was a standard MTPredictor trade setup. It was a standard MTPredictor trade setup because the STF, which is our trend color-coded indicator, which you can see here, was black at the time of the TS3 sell, so it was a standard trade setup. So if we place the analysis on, very easy, right mouse click over the red bar, come down and select analysis, and as you can see this gives you the entry level, the stop level, how many contracts to trade, in this case to keep the risk less than 2% of a sample $20,000 account. This is what we call position sizing. So this varies the number of contracts or shares or lots depending on what you're trading to keep your initial risks constant over all your trades. This is absolutely vital if you want to have your profits related to your losses, and that's the only real way to move forward in this business. The market came down and then tagged our first profit target at this level here for a lovely 5 profit. In other words, it would have turned a $400 initial risk into $2,000. Now yes, it would have been nice if we'd have caught this fall later in the day, and if I actually put the cursor on and we look at this, normally what we do excuse me, is when we reach the first target we come down to look at our STF. This is our strength, or this is our indicator down here. We look at our STF strength band, which is this grey band. If our STF indicator is beyond the strength band, we assume the market's strong, and therefore we look to run with our ATR stop. And if we had done this, this would have been an absolutely beautiful trade because it would have held you in short all the way down and would have come out here for, well, pretty much 14-hour profit, which would have been nice. However, if we didn't do that, we would have come out a little bit earlier in the day for here. But were there any other ways you could have got back in to this particular trade? And this is one thing that we teach for the more advanced students of MTPredictor. We call it a trend continuation trade. And what we're actually looking for is, if I zoom in a bit, we're looking for a little wiggle around a level where we can enter the trade, and this is exactly what happened here. We got a 3-bar wiggle. So what you could have done, and of course you would have known the trend was down because of our comments earlier in the day on the ES and the YM being at important high levels. So what you could have done, if I'll just clear this chart off, is placed a sell order below this bar low. The protective stop would just have been above the little wiggle high here. You then don't have any particular target. You just run with your ATR stop, which would have held you in till about the close. So you could have had another trade here for potentially 5.8-hour profit. We normally do this in and around our DP levels, which is our potential support and resistance levels. So if I go back, and so I'll just zoom in a bit here, or zoom out, I mean. If we go back to look at the last major pivot low, which is here, you can see that our DP level, just zoom back out, zoom in again, sorry, wrong way. You can see that our DP level here was just around this particular level. If I just extend this out using the rectangle tool, you can see that this little wiggle happened just about, whoops, did I get that right? Just about at our DP level. Whoops, very difficult to draw this accurately. Try and zoom in a little bit more. So there you go, it happened just pretty much at our DP support level. So that's why you could have used a trend continuation trade to then catch this on the short side as well. So not only would you have had the first trade here for 5R, but you could have had another 5 or so R profit as the trend continued down here. Were there any other reasons why it was carrying on down? Well, if we look at the YM, it's not the YM, the ES. If we go to the ES, if we look at this particular pattern here, we can use our more advanced tools in our software, our Elliott wave tools. And if I place the Elliott wave intermediate on here, you can see this was an ABC pattern, which is a corrective pattern, which would have allowed you to take a short trade off this red sell bar to again catch the decline going down. What I thought was amazing was in the NQ we would have run this all the way down into the close, but on the YM, what I thought was really nice is if we look at the minor pattern going down here. Again, this is another tool in MTPredictor. If we right mouse click, we look at our minor Elliott waves. What I thought was absolutely amazing was this decline down here was not any random decline. It was actually a lovely 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But just look where the low of the day came in, right at our minimum wave 5 WPT. In other words, this is the first area where we'd anticipate a wave 5 low to come in. It just shows that the patterns and the moves within these markets are not random. They do actually unfold in specific patterns and specific ways that we can take advantage of with the tools in MTPredictor. So if you're on the looking at the ES, there's your ABC correction into the typical wave CWPT, which is our orange level there. The move then off that down to here was a lovely 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it depends on what market you were following yesterday and how experienced you are with MTPredictor. But I hope this video has shown you that that some of the more advanced tools in the software allow you to analyze the market and as such anticipate levels of where reversals are going to occur, or if you're just trading the standard MTPredictor trade setups, even at the, just clear this all off, even just at the most basic level, this TS3 sell setup, a standard MTPredictor trade setup, came down here for a lovely 5R profit. So all in all, a very good day for MTPredictor yesterday.